Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your Thursday night football slate we got going on for the Baltimore Ravens against the Miami Dolphins. Okay, this is in conference matchup between the Baltimore Ravens, who are red hot, and the poor, lowly Miami Dolphins. Oh, what they would have done if they would have gave everything back, man. All their first round picks, and this is what they have to offer. You know, Tua's on the bench. They're starting Jacoby Brissett. There's so many question marks. They went up and got Jalen Waddle. There's a lot of question marks that we thought Miami was, setting themselves up for a very prosperous future. But now it's kind of looking like a train wreck. But before I get into that, this is the Patreon. All right, subscribe to that. Sign up for that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel as well. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. All right, the Patreon here, exclusive content. You get game slate breakdowns for the DFS. You get one-on-ones. You get betting advice. All that comes into the package if you sign up for the Patreon. Only $7.99 a month. Okay, that's it. For a month, you're getting 30 days worth of value. That's what's happening when you put in your money. You sign up, and then if you don't like it, then desubscribe. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll continue to win, and there'll be other people that'll join. That'll be fine. All right, so let's get into this Draftkings slate showdown between the Ravens and the Dolphins. Ravens are on the road. Dolphins are home. And where do we want to pick at? All right. Both of these defenses have been very lackluster as of late. If we're just looking at fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks, Miami Dolphins are 26th ranked. But if I'm focusing on yards, all right, 296 yards passing to quarterbacks, 1.9 TDs. That's alarming. That's the second worst in the league, and the Ravens are right behind them. All right. It's only fantasy points per game, 19th rank, but they're allowing 296 yards and 1.8 TDs per quarterback per game. Okay, those are the things I'm looking at. All right, so I'm not looking at defenses. I don't think that's it could be a factor. Obviously, you have Jacoby Brissett as the quarterback. He can create some turnovers and help the Ravens. But the boost is that they are not on the road in this situation. The Dolphins are home. But what I've been seeing from the Ravens defense doesn't, move my needle of thinking that their defense is going to be super, super advantageous in this spot. So what I'm sticking with here is going to be offensive, right? Offensive. We can fade the defense in this situation. And we're going to start off with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson at $20,000 for your captain position. Obviously, he is worth it. The upside with the arm and the rushing ability. An outstanding 21 attempts, 120 yards against the Minnesota Vikings in that previous week. He can obviously do the same thing against the Miami Dolphins. As you can see here, ranked 30th against the pass and 17th against rushing defense. He's a dual threat. He's going to be one of our top tier options at the captain and flex spot. He has to be in each and every lineup. We love Lamar Jackson. Let's continue to move down. We have Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown has been the number one option for Lamar Jackson. All right. He already has a game with 2 TDs. The upside is there. 36 fantasy points, 23 last week. The week before that, 19. He's been very, very consistent. They get Sammy Watkins back. That's only going to help them. Rashad Bateman is one of their bright young wide receivers. We're going to talk about him in a second. But he's another one of our top tier options. So you got to have lineups with Captain Lamar. You got to have lineups with Captain Marquise Brown. All right. I spoke about Tua Tagovailoa. He's questionable as of right now. Dolphins will make game day decision on their starting QB. Obviously, if he steps in, they have a little bit better of a chance to get this victory. He is going to make mistakes, but they are choosing to be more aggressive with Tua Tagovailoa. And if he is going to be in the game, we can see some game scripts where we can force him in there and definitely play him at his current price. Obviously, we're going to have to find some cheaper options if we're going to pay up for both quarterbacks, but that's what I'm here for, to help you through that situation. So we're going to wait on that news on Tua. And then Jacoby Brissett, if it's him playing, he's going to be like tier 3, tier 4. I can see scenarios where I don't have to play him, but I play some of the pass catchers on this side, like Myles Gaskins or Gesicki or Jalen Waddle. I don't have to have Jacoby Brissett in my lineup. Something similar to what Pittsburgh did on Monday night. You didn't have to have Ben Roethlisberger, but you could still have one of their receiving options, like a Pat Freiermuth. Okay. All right, so Jacoby Brissett is someone we're gonna look at. Like I'm saying, if Tua Tagovailoa is in, then we'll switch. Okay. Myles Gaskins is going to be one of the main stars on Miami that I'm going to look forward to. If I'm looking at fantasy points allowed to running backs, and we're going to check for the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are currently, I know I just passed it right here. Baltimore Ravens are currently 23rd ranked. They're allowing 82 yards per game to running backs, 4.1 yards per attempt. But the key alarming part for why running backs do well against the Ravens is the receiving game. 5.8 receptions, 61 yards receiving to running backs. All right. And this is the main receiving back for the Miami Dolphins. He had 20 carries in this game. And look at that, 6 receptions on 6 targets, 23 yards. Had a fumble, but as you can see, we want the usage. All right, we want someone that's going to get a a myriad of targets. That's what I'm trying to say here. So he's rushing the ball. He's getting the receptions. A lot of question marks was with Myles Gaskins all throughout the season, and maybe with Jacoby Brissett. You know what? They toned things down, and it was like, hey, Myles Gaskins, you are our workhorse, and he stepped up. All right, so I definitely like him in this game script. One of my favorite Miami plays. There's someone else that I like as well, and we're going to get to him very soon. All right, now Mark Andrews is another top tier target getter for the Baltimore Ravens. Marquise Brown is number 1. Mark Andrews is number 2. The question is or can he get in that end zone? All right, he's been struggling as of late, but the targets have been there. 6 targets, 7 and 10 the last 3 weeks. Receptions have been 5, 3, and 5, and the middling yards from 44, 48, and 68. But the upside is there, as you can see, against Indianapolis Colts. He had 147 yards, 2 TDs on 11 catches. Okay, the upside is there. So he's definitely one of our mid-tier flex guys, and also could be a captain spot. But the other tight end on the other side, I think, has a better chance to being a captain. So Mike Gesicki is playing that slot role. Obviously, they have some injuries at the wide receiver position. Mike Gesicki has been stepping up. 4 receptions on 8 targets last week on 54 yards. And the key to this is the Ravens defense is really bad against opposing tight ends. If I go to fantasy points allowed, 2 tight ends right here, Baltimore Ravens are 31st. They're allowing 7 receptions on 75 yards, 10 targets a game to opposing tight ends, and almost right there 1 TD a game to tight ends. That's 0.8 right there. So Gesicki is going to be my second favorite option from the Dolphin side of the ball, with Gaskins being number 1. All right, so let's continue to move down. Can we see any rushing guys on the Baltimore side besides Lamar Jackson? And I think that guy would be Devonta Freeman. You saw Le'Veon Bell have a decent outing, but someone that's getting the ball rushing and receiving. Since this is DraftKings and this is PPR scoring, I want the guy that's rushing the ball and receiving. And Devonta Freeman is having a little bit of a resurrection this season. 13 rushing attempts, 79 yards rushing. He also provided 2 receptions on 3 targets and a touchdown. That's what I want to see. Okay, that's what I want to see from a running back that I choose. All right. Someone that's going to get some points rushing and receiving. That's a big, big X factor to me. All right. And to fill out the rest of our top one and top tier two guys will be Jalen Waddle. If we're looking for a short-handed wide receiver that's getting a ton of targets, look at the consistency here. He gets a huge bump if Tua plays. Tua and Waddle have that college connection, and you see it in their rapport. And same thing goes for Jacoby Brissett. This will be his safety blanket. Waddle last week, 8 receptions, 10 targets, 83 yards on 16 fantasy points right there. The question is, can he get in the end zone? Obviously, he has the capabilities to do so. The question is the opportunities. And in this game script, where you see the Baltimore Ravens really struggling to stop opposing wide receivers, he can be a guy we can look for. And that will be our tier 1 and tier 2 guys we want to focus on in captain and flex. Now let's look at guys that are going to be the bottom end flex guys to fill in the rest of our lineups. Or you could take a shot at one of these guys that are a cheaper price, put them in the captain spot so you can obviously afford more expensive people. All right. You can go LAMAR. You can go LAMAR, Marquise Brown, Gaskins, and Mark Andrews if you go with one of these cheaper options. So let's clear out this flex. All right. This is tier 1 and tier 2. And let's continue on to tier 3 and tier 4. We're moving down. I spoke about Devonta Freeman. Rashad Bateman is going to be one of my favorite cheaper wide receivers. He's coming on as of late, coming back from injury. Obviously, he missed the first couple games of the season with his groin, and now he's turning up just a little bit. These games you're seeing right here were without Sammy Watkins, so that's going to be a little bit of a wait and see. But I'm willing to take a shot on him. 6 targets in week 6, 6 targets in week 7, and then 8 targets in week 9. Getting a little bit a bump in receptions and targets. The yards are going to come. He has the capabilities to get open. He is a supreme route runner as a rookie, and we're going to love him as one of our back end flex position guys. All right, for our build. Sammy Watkins is someone you can take a risk on. This will be his first game back, so I don't know how much he'll be fully acclimated. They're probably just going to throw him out there in 2 wide receiver sets with him and Marquise Brown. We're going to see. We're going to see. I think Bateman has earned his spot as well. So the way Sammy Watkins gets injured, I don't really want to take a risk on him, but it's something to look at, all right? Le'Veon Bell last week was someone that stepped up. Unfortunately, he got into the end zone. That's why he got over 10 fantasy points. But I think I can stick to Devonta Freeman and avoid Le'Veon Bell. I don't need to go to that route. Devin Duvernay is really a question mark. I said we're going to fade both defenses. So no Ravens defense and no Dolphins defense. But we can go to both kickers. Justin Tucker, an elite kicker in the league. We can throw him in there at 4,000 if you're looking for a cheaper guy. And you see he has some double-digit games here against Minnesota, against the Chargers, and against Denver. Nice game against Detroit and the Raiders. So some big upside for Justin Tucker. Obviously, Lamar Jackson can move the ball down the field. The question is, can they get it in the end zone? Obviously, we can go. I don't know if I want to trust Jason Saunders. I really don't know if I want to go this route. Miami kind of struggles to move the ball, and that's why you see these low totals. He only has 1 double-digit game in the whole season, so I think we can avoid the Miami kicker, and we're going to avoid both defenses. Let's see if we can find another cheap guy that's getting decent size amount of looks and options. If we go to snaps here, let's update it. And I already got it narrowed down to Baltimore and the Dolphins. And Lamar Jackson is leading it off. Marquise Brown. Oh, no, I don't want all teams. Let's take that out. We're going to put Baltimore. And then we're going to scroll down and go to Miami Dolphins. And this you could do all on lineups.com. They break it down into a myriad of sections so you can really get some up-to-date stats. Okay? All right, Jalen Waddle's up there. As you see, look at Rashad Bateman, 65 snaps last week. That's a decent percentage, 83% of that right there. Matt Collins is someone to look at with 60 snaps on 38%. But that's an overall. But that was a plus sign that you saw. He got 60 snaps, more snaps than Mike Gesicki. So I think that's someone to look at. Smythe is another number 2 tight end, their blocking tight end that they like to use. I don't think we can go to Devin Duvernay because of Sammy Watkins being back in the lineup. And other than that, I think we can avoid everyone else. So the next cheaper guy we would go with, just going off snaps, so we want usage, is going to be Matt Collins at 4,200. He had got a nice amount of looks because of some injuries to the Dolphins. Hopefully he can turn it out again. He was able to get in the end zone. That's a plus if Jacoby Brissett is going to be the starting starting quarterback. He obviously is looking at Matt Collins, who's a bigger wide receiver, taking the spot of Parker. And he is a decent option at 4,200 to fill out the back of your flex position. Smythe is the blocking tight end, so he might get a catch here or there, but he's not a definite that we can go to. Patrick Ricard on the Ravens was able to get in the end zone last week. 3 receptions, 5 targets, 35 yards. Is that a little a fake type of game? That could be, but we'll throw him in the pool at 1,000 just because we've seen some usage from him. Let's see, and I think that's pretty much it. I think that is pretty much it. We can get a little bit creative with choosing one of the cheaper guys like a Bateman and put him at the captain spot, or a Gesicki. Like I said, he has a prime matchup, or even DeVonta Freeman, and that's where we can save some salary and fill out the rest of this lineup if you do not decide to go with Lamar Jackson or Marquise Brown. All right, as an elite top tier captain spot. All right, so I think you guys can get very creative on this Thursday night slate. Let me know in that comment section down below if you have any other ideas, any other cheap plays. That comment section was booming last week where we saw someone speak up about the tight end for the Chicago Bears, and he came out to be a very good option. He was below $1,000. So shout out to that subscriber. I appreciate those. That's why it's helpful, man. Comment down below, and we can really brainstorm this stuff. And it actually came through. It actually came through last week. So let's see if we can repeat that performance, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessengerSD. And guys, don't forget the Patreon link is down below. Sign up for that now, all right? Thank you guys, and peace out. I'll be back with another video very soon. Peace.